So what was crazy, man, when I made that decision, my mom, she came up to me and she said there's this program called Job Corps.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I think you should apply for it. And she's like, because I really fear that the streets are gonna kill you. And so she took me, got on the public bus, she took me to the Job Corps application center. I applied.
Yeah.
5 months passed and I got in. And this was my first time being able to leave Vegas. And Job Corps at that time was up in northern Nevada at an old Air Force base in this city called Stead, Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, when you get there, you're put into a dorm with like 150 plus other young men.
Right.
And you're put on like a military schedule. And so I was there for like 6 months. But my first week there, I had another friend come up there from Vegas with me. He almost got in a fight with some dude.
Yeah.
And I broke up the fight. And so that night I'm in my dorm room and all of a sudden the door opens up and the dude that I broke up the fight with and two of his homies came in and they slid the bed in front of the door and he came up and he just punched me in my face. And I had to like fight for my life. And
Wow.
it was crazy because there, if you got in one fight, you got kicked out.
Right.
So after we got in this fight, I had to just swallow it, knowing that I had some beef there, and continue forging forward with the mission. And I remember there was a moment after the fight, I walked outside, I had blood all over my shirt. I stepped into the snow, there was blood dripping all over the ground. I had a big old hematoma on the top of my head. But I felt cool and calm inside. And something in me was like, this is that resistance point.
Yeah.
Because you know the only place you're gonna go if you leave here is right back to the streets. In that moment, I said, you know what? I'm not gonna let anybody or anything take this opportunity away from me. And at that time, the opportunity wasn't massive. It was just getting my high school diploma and my GED,
Yeah.
which eventually led me to getting 1 college credit.
Mm-hmm.
But that was enough to give me the belief in myself that I could continue forward and go to college. And so after that happened, it took me about 6 months to finish the program. Ended up getting really, really in really good shape. Realized that structure is something that I need, which I think a lot of kids that grow up in the streets, that's really all they're missing is some structure.
Right.
And a system. And that was the motivation and momentum that I ended up going to the community college of Southern Nevada. Was there for 4 years. The first 2 years didn't count because my grades were so bad. And it took me a while to get proficient enough in math to actually, you know, enroll in courses that counted. 4 years at the community college, and then that led to me going and getting my bachelor's at UNLV, and then eventually that led to me getting my master's. But it was like these little moments in time where I had a decision to make. It was a choice. I can go down one path, or I can go down the other path. I could go back to what is comfortable, or I could step into what is not comfortable. And what I'm learning, and what I've learned again and again and again on my path, is that oftentimes growth is not comfortable. Oftentimes, like, what is comfortable is not our highest level of self. And it's this journey of going again and again back into the focus of like, what is it that I really need to grow?
Yeah.
That really opens up those doors time and time again. And so it's a muscle, and that muscle has been cultivated over the last 20 years through stepping into uncomfortable situations or things that don't necessarily feel good initially, but inevitably open up the doors to a higher level of me.